In this video, we will review constructors and initialization, available within the Java programming language. Each class you declare, you can provide a special method called a constructor that can be used to initialize an object of a class when the object is first created. In fact, Java requires a constructor call for every object that's created. Keyword new requests memory from the system to store an object, then calls a corresponding class's constructor to initialize the object. A constructor must have the same name as the class. By default, the compiler provides a default constructor with no parameters in any class that does not explicitly include a constructor. When a class has only the default constructor, its instance variables are initialized to their default values. If no user-defined constructor is provided for the class, the compiler initializes member variables to its default values. Numeric data types are set to 0, character data types are set to null, reference variables are set to null as well. In order to create a constructor, observe the following rules. Its name has to be the same as the class. It should not return a value, not even void, because it's not a method. Let's create our constructor. Let's create some instance variables. And now let's initialize the value of these variables. Let's give the integer a value of 5. Without the constructor, the numeric data types are set to 0. The cars are set to null or empty, and the reference variables are set to null. But by having the default constructor, our variables will always be initialized. Let's talk about constructor overloading. Constructor overloading is a technique in Java in which a class can have any number of constructors that differ in parameter list. The compiler differentiates these constructors by taking into account the number of parameters in the list and their type. Example of valid constructors for a class are By using this constructor, we can initialize the int value by passing in a value when the object is created. We can do the same for the object. As you see here, we have our default constructor, our constructor that just initializes x, and another constructor that initializes demo. We can have a constructor that initializes all 3 variables or none. This concludes our discussion of constructors and initialization.